Now, Donald Trump says he's determined to tackle crime in America's big cities. These big cities are always run by the Democrats and often they're riddled with crime army. We've got talking about places like DC, NYC, LA, Chicago. And the president posted this. He said 6 people were killed and 24 people were shot in Chicago last weekend. And JB Pritzker, the weak and pathetic governor of Illinois, just said he doesn't need help in preventing crime. He is crazy, capital letters. He better straighten out fast or we are coming. Ami, the Illinois governor has made a fool of himself in recent days for a number of reasons. But what do you see? How do you see his stance on law and order and his claim that Illinois, Chicago doesn't need Donald Trump or the feds in there helping them reduce crime?
Look, again, you and I have talked about this before. I have issues with using. Look, DC is one thing. We've talked about it before. It is under the mandate of the federal government. Now, when it comes to states, it's a whole different ball of wax. Look, I have seen the National Guard be used very effectively in certain places. For example, the BLM riots, right? Or the LA riots. Those are reasons, these are national emergencies that the president certainly has a legal right to call the National Guard to quell that. I've also seen the National Guard be used very effectively when they are going after specific targets. So, for example, you see them in transit hubs, at stadiums, at certain federal buildings, right, that have maybe specific targets or threats against them. Also very effective. The problem is that, look, the National Guard is a blunt object. They're not trained for policing. They have certain training and they're very good at it. And when it comes to, say, reducing crime in the short term, like in DC, they can do that very effectively. Long term, they're just not a police force, right? Police forces are trained in different ways. They need to know a neighborhood, know the community, do investigations on crime. That's how you effectively reduce crime long term. By effective policing. So, yeah, look, I see why. Yeah.
But why can't Trump declare a national emergency? Why can't he decide that the crime rate in a city like Chicago warrants the National Guard being there? And I understand what you're saying about long-term solutions. They may go in there and reduce the crime rate for a period of time, but doesn't that at least show that it can be done, that there is a way to tackle crime? Because for decades now, it seems in the big cities, we've been conditioned to just accept crime as a part of life rather than something that can actually be reduced dramatically, perhaps even eliminated.
He can legally, and this is the part of the legal argument going on, he can if he calls it a federal emergency. And they can be called into police crime. But look, I'm just telling you from a conservative perspective, I have always and will always lean toward smaller government, less federal intervention, and local community governance. That's just the way I am wired. It's my conservative belief system. I believe long-term, that is better than a short-term fix, okay? Look, I will tell you this. One of my biggest problems I have for American democracy is the growth in executive power. I don't like it. I don't like it for Trump. I didn't like it under Biden. I didn't like it under Obama, which is where we saw the real growth. And I think it's a real danger to our democracy when you have executive growth like we've seen it. I just don't like it. I'm sorry, Rita, I just don't.
Well, we're going to have to disagree on that one, but we often disagree on this program, so that's all well and good. Now, the Illinois governor, I mentioned earlier, made a fool of himself in recent days. There was this.
We're very pleased about the progress that we're making. I know that I live rent-free in the president's head, and I wish he would spend some time in Chicago so that he could see what a lovely city we have. Governor, quick follow-up. What do you do if the National Guard is activated and comes here?
I got to tell you, that cameraman deserves an Oscar for that work. The way he scanned up to the Trump Tower and made a complete mockery of what the governor just said. That was art right there. But we're not finished with Pritzker yet. He made a fool of himself again on the weekend, playing into this conspiracy theory that Donald Trump was dead or near death. He was actually playing golf. The Illinois governor posted this response to Trump. He wrote, "Why don't you send everyone proof of life first? Either way, Chicago doesn't want you here." Ami, just quickly on this conspiracy theory that played out, it was the top trending topic on X and elsewhere. And the lefties were all very, very excited that they thought Donald Trump was dead or almost dead.
Well, they've certainly tried, right? I mean, there's no question the left has tried to eliminate him and other conservatives. Look, I just think this is them saying, you know, it was Biden who we thought was dead for a long time, so maybe we'll try to turn the tables and say Trump is dead. Maybe, again, wishful thinking. I don't get it. It's so silly. It just makes you look like a fool, and certainly makes a guy who is governor of a state and who, by the way, has political presidential aspirations just look like an idiot. Like, what are you doing here?
Sticking with Chicago, the Democrat Mayor Brandon Johnson has already limited how much his city's police department can cooperate with federal immigration agents. He's doing everything he can, Ami, to frustrate the Trump administration's deportation program.
I always thought that Lori, I care of my hygiene, Lightfoot was the worst mayor in Chicago history, but I was proven wrong, right? It's Brandon Johnson, hands down. Hats off to you, Mayor Johnson. He is, and this is not just me saying hyperbole that he's the worst mayor. He's literally the worst mayor in America. He, in February, was down to a 6% approval rating, not 60,
wow.
6%. He has since been riding high to 28%, currently where he sits. More importantly, he's at 38% and 28% with the Black and Hispanic community, right? Which, again, goes to this trend of Black and Hispanic voters not wanting to see Democratic policies in their cities when it starts to affect them. Even a Black mayor is underwater, way underwater, with Black voters. And when it comes to his fighting back on illegal immigration, well, of course they're not going to take this because they see the effects illegal immigration has had in their cities, right? When they have between 50 and 100,000 illegal immigrants causing crime in their city. Not all of them, of course, obviously. I mean, only an idiot would say that. But obviously, any crime committed by an illegal immigrant is an additional crime we didn't have to have if they weren't in the city. So, yeah, that's, of course, you see the Democrats losing. They lost the vote because they lost the election because of it. And then even more horrible, right? Okay, the Democratic Party, party of democracy, right? Brandon Johnson said he will not work with federal agents, even if he is constitutionally required. He said it. He said the quiet part out loud that I don't care if legally I have to, I'm not going to do it. Even worse, Rita, is he said that he will instruct the police not to work with federal ICE agents, even if they are under attack. So if they are being attacked by people on the streets, he is telling the police, do not assist them. Never mind assisting them with moving out illegals. Don't help them in any way, shape, or form. This is dangerous. This is terrible. It's why he's such a poor mayor.
Ami Horowitz, thank you so much for your time tonight.